As soon as Vic walks into the room, his wife starts begging him to help her choose proper attire for the occasion. She approaches him and requests that he retrieve her black shoes for her. Melinda's conversation with an old acquaintance named Joe is overheard by Joe's spouse, Vic, who also happens to cross paths with Joe at the same time. Melinda spends little time with Joe before kidnapping him and bringing him to an isolated place where they begin passionately kissing. Melinda continues to act out her dream despite Vic's awareness of what is going on. After that failed to get everyone's attention, Melinda began dancing atop a piano in an attempt to draw everyone's attention to what she was saying, despite her odd behavior, which caused everyone in the room to smile warmly. Later that evening, Joe thanks Vic for introducing him to Vic's wife, Melinda, during their conversation. Vic assigns him the responsibility of thinking about Martin McRae, who has been missing for some time. Vic admits to him that he was the one who pushed him to abandon the scene. Vic informs him of this information. Joe believes it's a joke, but Vic says that if he continues to make the same mistake, it's clear that he's the one who has to change. Joe suspects it's a prank. Vic's response leaves Joe perplexed, and Joe departs soon after saying his goodbyes. Joe has annoyed Melinda. Melinda walked into the kitchen without a shirt on late at night, when Vic was still speaking with the babysitter who was watching their children. Vic was bothered by this and made many attempts to urge her to leave the premises. Melinda's discontent was evident, and she walked out of the room as a result. We learn a lot about Melinda, including that she is a reckless woman who is primarily concerned with herself. He reconnects with his buddies after some time has passed and discovers that they are all aware of how he startled Joe by making the joke about Martin McRae. They also stated that Melinda is ill as a result of what she did in front of Vic. When Melinda arrives home, she learns what transpired and instantly requests that Vic apologize to Joe. Joe rings the doorbell, and when he opens it, he finds Vic waiting for him. Joe had no idea Vic would come there. In an angry condition, Melinda orders Vic to put her daughter to bed and give her more stories before she goes to sleep. Vic later finds Melinda and Joe enjoying themselves after giving her kid a goodnight tale. Vic and Melinda are conversing with a writer who giggles about Martin McRae and refers to the writer as a killer. The author's statements are overheard by Vic and Melinda. Vic's dancing with another woman causes Melinda to feel envious, forcing her to compare herself to the other ladies. Furthermore, Melinda has many sexual encounters with Vic while he is driving the automobile. Vic gets a phone call from his bank concerning Melinda's bank account after seeing their daughter play. He finds that she gave a pianist $3,000. As he pursues this individual, he eventually comes across Vic and confronts her with the reality that she has been using his money to cheat on him and has not been home for the whole night. He accuses her of having an affair with another man while they were still together. This lady is a poor fit for this man since she is just interested in herself and has no regard for how her interactions with him may affect him emotionally. She also informs Vic that she has a pleasant evening rendezvous with the pianist scheduled for the following week, whether he is married or not. When it begins to rain, everyone flees inside, and after they are convinced they are safe, they return to the party. Melinda has come to the conclusion that she will have to go check on the pianist on her own since she cannot find him anywhere. When she arrives, the first thing she notices is a dead body floating in the pool. She immediately begins screaming as she sees the body for the first time. Everyone rushes out to the backyard to save him, but none of their efforts are successful. Melinda is forced to face the idea that she was ultimately responsible for the pianist's death as the investigation into what transpired at the police station proceeds. The police interview Vic about the most apparent components of the situation, but no surprise revelations are revealed throughout the course of their interrogation. After some time has passed, he asks Melinda if she is afraid of him. Melinda says that she has nothing to fear from him since he murdered those people because he was envious of her. Later, while riding his bike, he starts to see Melinda with another man, as well as flashes of himself. Tony, a Melinda buddy, eventually bumps into Vic inside the home one of the days. When Melinda enters, she rushes up to Tony and embraces him as if he were her spouse. She then braggingly tells Vic that she was the first American to have sexual contact with Tony. Vic becomes irritated as he takes in all that has been stated. They begin to have a good time that evening due to the food and music, and they begin dancing in front of Vic in an inappropriate manner. Vic bumps into them again on his way to his second-floor bedroom. He and she lock eyes as he observes her going about her everyday activities. He had just seen her doing things that were typical of her. Vic tells Tony a few days later that Melinda wants to see him. He takes him to an isolated location and continues to question him about his relationship with Melinda and his prior encounters with other women. After getting out of the vehicle, he leaned down and picked up a large rock, which he then tossed at the driver. After that, they were at odds with one another and had a quarrel. Vic kills him fast, first dumping a large boulder on top of his corpse, then drowning him in the lake so no one else can see. After all that has happened, he cannot express how pleased he feels to be going home. The following day, he and Melinda thought it would be fun to have a picnic in the same spot where he killed Tony. After some time has passed, he gets the opportunity to look down into the river and completely by accident sees the corpse of the dead individual drifting downstream. Melinda informs him that she loves him and cannot fathom her life without him on the same night. She then invites him to spend the night in her room. The next day, he returns to the location of his blunder in an effort to correct it. However, Melinda is the one who discovers Tony's wallet inside the vehicle when she is there. Vic is attempting to bury Tony's corpse under the surface of the water when he is approached and asked what he is doing with the body. Vic responds by saying he is trying to bury Tony. Vic is recounting the events. When the elderly guy notices this, he hurriedly flees, and Vic immediately follows him on his bicycle. The elderly guy was involved in an accident not even a minute after the pursuit began. When Vic ultimately comes home at the conclusion of the film, the starting incident is reenacted for the audience. Melinda also set fire to Tony's identification, but she did not tell the necessary authorities.